All right, let's start this project off by tracing the basic pattern pieces. If you've watched my previous videos, I'm trying to teach you basic pattern making and how to make new styles at home. You could just take your pattern paper and manipulate and try to make your own clothes. So take the basic pattern that we made on the previous Clone Your T-shirt. Okay, you have a front, a back, and just a regular sleeve. Now, in the industry, this is called a block. How we work is we have basic blocks. Then we turn them into new styles, but you always want to start with your core pattern. So, I know that this fits me perfect. The armhole fits, the neckline fits. I don't need to keep reinventing the wheel with new patterns. I can use this every time and just branch out from there. This way, you take your pattern pieces, retrace them, create another piece, front, back, sleeve, that you can cut up and manipulate, and then we'll turn that into the next pattern. Okay? So, trace off your pattern and meet me back here. All right, now I picked out the length that I wanted from something in my closet, which is very easy for you to accomplish. This is one of my sweatshirts that I like the length on, and I like this little band at the bottom. So I will emulate the same type of styling and measure the length from the center back neck seam to the bottom. And I get 22 inches. Line up your patterns at the armhole along the side seam. Measure from your center back neck on your pattern, and you want to measure down 22 inches and strike a line all the way across. Here you can see our length finishing at 22 inches. Then we need to compensate the bottom band. And the bottom band height is 2 1/4. So from the bottom fold up is 2 1/4, is here. Okay? So then we make a line all the way across. But then we need to add seam allowance back to the body length so we can attach the bottom band. I'm going to use 3/8 of an inch as my seam allowance. That way, if I want to press the seam up, I can add a top stitch and I'll be able to grab something. I may leave it plain, but I'm giving myself room. So now you need to go back. This is your sew line. You will add 3/8 of an inch, which is here, and then this will be your cut line. So I'll just make a note. Sew line and cut line, okay? Now we're going to cut this off, and we'll have the nice short length to wear with jeans that we're looking for. All right, this sweatshirt's a little boxy, which I like, and the bottom circumference on the front is 22 inches. So if I want these pattern pieces to be the same width, I need to add to each seam allowance. So I need to add especially here at the bottom, 1 inch, and I need to add 1 inch so that you could see I'm matching. This is on the fold, but I'm just matching here to here. This all needs to be filled in. So to do that equally, what I will do, I'm only going to add 1/2 inch to the underarm. So plus 1/2. So plus 1/2. And when I get to the bottom, I need to add 1 inch to each side. It won't be exactly this boxy, but that's okay, it'll be close. So plus 1 inch, and this way, plus 1 inch. So I need to take some paper and tape it. Take my ruler and start at the 1/2, because I'm adding 1/2 in the underarm. What I add here, I have to add to my sleeve, okay? It's gonna make the sleeve saddle bigger. That's okay, I want a little bit of a loose fitting garment. I'm gonna go out, here's 1 inch, so I'm starting with 1/2. And I'm just pivoting my ruler out 1 inch. This is going to be my new line. Along the side seam, square it off. Repeat the same step on the back. Half, pivot, 1 inch. And square off at the bottom and trim. Now we can have this nice wide bottom opening. Next we'll make the band. And for the band, this band has side seams. So we'll copy the same as this. Center front here is on the fold. Do the same thing. I want to cut the same amount on the fold to match the side seam. The waistband is finished length 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 on the double is 4 1/2 plus 3/8 seam allowance on the top and the bottom of the band is going to make the total width 5 1/4. So I'm going to mark 5 1/4. Draw a nice straight line. Draw 3/8 seam allowance. which is right here. Draw 3/8 on this side. In between the seam allowance is 4.5, and half of that is 2 1/4, so this is the center, and this will be the bottom edge on fold. So bottom edge band on fold. Cut this out. So match up on the fold. This is the center front fold and center back fold, because I'm going to share this. These two measurements are the same. So we are going to share this band with the front and the back. And the band will be straight on the side seam. Our side seam has only 1/4 inch seam allowance because this is knit and this is from the t-shirt pattern, and we're only using overlock to sew this, so we only need the amount of overlock, which is 1/4 inch. Okay. Now when these two get sewn together, you will have a bottom band on the front and on the back. And you will sew them at the side seams, and this is just a cute detail. So it's starting to come together. Now we're going to work on the front neckline, and we'll make the sleeve at the end. Okay, our back is going to have no further corrections. On this, we're going to cut 2 of these. Center front and center back fold, okay? So you'll have one for the front and one for the back. So this is cut 2 bands. I would like to make a cowl neck front. Something different, something that no one else has. For the cowl neck detail, we're going to take our front pattern piece. This is a drape that I made, so you could see the shape that we will turn this paper pattern into this shape. So you need to draw lines on the pattern from the center front up to the armhole midway, and then another one up to this part of the shoulder, and then another one to the shoulder. Once you draw the lines, Don't cut all the way through. Here I made a little cut all the way through, but try to just clip it till the very edge so that you still have a little portion hanging on. So now you'll pull it up. And separate the pieces. This is your shoulder seam. So this will be squared off from the shoulder seam. And this is going to bend back inside for the cowl drape to have a little inside facing. So now if we fix this pattern and we fill in all the paper, this will be trimmed off and squared up. And then this is a bend back, and I'll show you how that works after. So this is your new armhole shape. Tape all this, and then from here, this is essentially squaring off for the cowl neck on the fold, and this will be the folded edge, and this portion folds in to create a facing. Now I will go ahead and piece together all the paper, and when I'm done with that, I will show you how the pattern piece looks. Okay, I filled in the paper where it was blank. I'm just taping it back, taping everything down. The center front is here, and I'm going to bend that underneath so I know that's on the fold. So I just strike a line all the way up, and now this is the extra, can be cut off. And in here, this is just my little paper that I used to patch. Then this will have to be cut out. And now we need to make the shoulder nice and straight. And then you'll strike your cowl neck on the fold right here at the neck. This is the fold line on the cowl neckline. Now what you'll do is fold this back on that line. Cutting off the shoulder seam and cleaning up the armhole. And now here's the new pattern, and this is the cowl neck center front. What I'll do is bend this back because I want to know that my front pattern piece is on the fold. So this will just, and I'll write it on there, okay? So now this is on the fold. And our front pattern piece is ready. Now for our basic sleeve pattern, this is from the lounge video, the lounge set. And we turned the short sleeve t-shirt into a long sleeve, basic long sleeve. Now I want to add a cuff to the bottom of the sleeve. However, I'd like to add a 4-inch cuff instead of a 2 1/4 inch cuff, just to give it a little extra pizzazz. So measure up 4 inches, strike a line, and this will be your cuff pattern. And we need to add a 1/4 inch seam allowance. This is the top half of the sleeve now. Back up at the top of the sleeve, if you remember, on the body, we added 1/2 inch. So we have to fill the sleeve saddle back 1/2 inch this way, so the total sleeve circumference will fit back into the armhole circumference on the body. My ruler, with this edge here, I'm going to go out 1/2 inch and blend back into this sleeve. So here's my 1/2. And just blend it straight back in. Now you'll do the same. This is the front sleeve. We need to fill in the back sleeve saddle just the same way. Fill this in, just like we did on that side. To 0 and out a 1/2 here like this. This will be to 0. Okay, so now we've added the 1/2 and the 1/2. And the only thing left to do is this bottom edge is going to turn into the fold. So this cuff is going to be on the fold. So you'll have a nice folded edge along the bottom. So we'll make this pattern piece next. Let's go add 1/4 inch to the bottom of the sleeve for seam allowance. I will use my glue stick to hold the pattern pieces together. Super easy. And now measure down 1/4. And we'll trim this out. Now the cuff, this needs to be on the double. we need to add a quarter to this, but I'll add it to the bottom. For now, this is our seam allowance. Make sure everything is straight. Just add a quarter of an inch to the top here. This is what your cuff will look like. And you'll cut 2. So this is a cuff. Cut 2. And this will be on the fold. You want to make sure this will be sewing. Make sure everything fits, and this will be sewing into the bottom of the sleeve. And you'll have a nice detail. Okay, this will be a seam with a nice cuff. Is this back neckline that you'll finish with bias binding. And on the t-shirt, we already made a piece of bias. So what you'll need to do is cut a piece of bias . 9 inches long. Okay, so we can get started now on laying out the fabric and cutting our pattern. All right, we're all done. I love the way this turned out. We have this really simple but pretty sleeve detail with a wide cuff just to add a little extra interest. But really, with the cowl neckline, I just think it's so elevated and just really nice. The bottom band, I added a little edge stitch to hold the seam in place. You have your back inside binding, so all you see is a top stitch, and it's clean finished along the neckline on the inside, and this is just adorable. I can't wait to wear it. Actually, I'm going to wear this tomorrow night. So if you stayed with me till the end, thank you so much, and I hope that you learned something, and I really hope that I inspired you to have a creative day. So I'll see you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.